lost a typical game to Cal. You know what? I'm going to give a shout out to NC State right now. I'm going to thank them. Yeah. Here's why. So, I mean, I've mentioned this a few times on air, but I'll mention it a few times today. I'm taking a little bit of a hiatus over the next couple of weeks here because I'm going on paternity leave. Starting tomorrow. My wife is being induced into labor for our second child. Looking very much forward to it. But here's where NC State's coming through clutch. Dennis, you can just take this segment that we're about to have, and every time NC State plays while I'm out, just replay it. Because every game is the exact same.
It's copy-paste.
Just change the names around a little. Whoever's the hot shooter for that day. Replace Styles with Hill or mix in Jaden Taylor occasionally, and it's all the same.
Copy-paste.
7 straight losses. Corey Smith of Pack Pride points out that is the longest losing streak under Kevin Keatts, which goes back years now. Second longest tenured head coach in the ACC. Every game for this year's NC State team plays out the same way. It's not even like the cool kind of knowing sports, right? When you're sitting around, it'll happen at Super Bowl parties, right? If you're the one that pays attention to sports the most, you'll be able to throw little predictions in there, and I'll be like, wow, look at that. It's not that. I'm sitting there watching going, yeah, 2-possession game, 5 minutes left. Yeah, they're going to lose. And then 2 seconds later, they're down 10, and you're like, pfft. It's not even like, oh, how cool was it? It's not even like, voila, look at my magic trick. It's like, it is what it is.
They won a stretch late of over 5 minutes without scoring.
That's part of the issue.
It's from 6:30. I think it was like Jaden Taylor, if I remember correctly, hit a 3 with 6:37 left. They didn't score until 1:17 left to play.
That's part of the issue.
That's 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
Well, here's the whole archetype, okay? With 5 minutes left in the game, they almost always are within a possession or two. It was a 5-point game with 5 minutes left last night. They had been leading, whatever it was, like with 12 minutes left in the game. So around halfway through the second half, they were actually ahead. With 5 minutes left, it's a 2-possession game. And right there, everything changes. And the way I describe it, and I hope it gets the point across, is you can see their back muscles tighten up. You can see everybody suddenly is thinking, rather than play in the flow, rather than what's the best play, rather than who's got the best shot, it becomes, we have to finish. Give me the ball. Hero ball. Maybe forcing shots. Thinking, all right, we got to get it all back here. You're looking for the 7-point shot when you're down 6, rather than just good possessions and stacking them together. And that leads to things where, okay, now we haven't scored in 2 minutes. And everybody's thinking, give me the ball. I'll end it. Now you haven't scored in 3 minutes. Oh, you guys aren't making it happen. Give it to me. Fade away. 4 minutes, 5 minutes, game over. With 5 minutes left, it was a 2-possession game. Cal won by 12. State had the lead halfway, roughly, we'll call it a little less than halfway, through the second half. Cal won by 12. Kevin Keatts, the head coach, Wolfpack Sports Network, gave his thoughts on the loss to Cal late night.
We've got to do a better job of understanding scouting reports. We let Wilkinson get to his left hand every possession. We talked about, obviously, one thing that you have to do with Cal is you got to do a great job of keeping them off the offensive glass. We did a great job in the first half. Second half, we give up 11, 12 offensive rebounds. I don't even think Sioko had an offensive rebound at the half, and now we end the game with 12. Like, if we're going to win these games, we have to follow scouting reports. We got to do a great job on the defensive end, and we didn't do it tonight. Give Cal credit on their flow. I thought they played, obviously played better than us, but we got to figure it out. We got to do better than that. And once again, it falls on me because I'm the head coach.
It's all good. It's all good coach speak, and it's likely true, right? It's hard for us to know what part of the scouting report they did and did not follow, but here's the frustrating part about the game arc that they follow every time. The first 35 minutes of the game, right? 2 20-minute halves. So the entire first half and the first 15 minutes of the second half pretty much takes away all excuses. Right? Last night, If they would have gotten manhandled down low from the jump, because Cal has a little bit of size, like if they would have just gotten pushed around, if they would have lost the rebounding battle, Cal's a very good offensive rebounding team. If they would have been getting second chance points from the jump, we could all sit back and go, man, Brandon Huntley-Hatfield, who was out with an illness, his presence was missed. And Ben Middlebrooks, when he got in foul trouble in both the first and second half, without those two guys on the floor, they just got pushed around. And you can point to that. But when you are leading 28 minutes into the game and you're playing pretty close 35 minutes into the game, and then it falls apart, it's like, well, no. It's not Brandon Huntley-Hatfield's absence because he wasn't there for the first 30 minutes either, and you were doing fine. It's not Ben Middlebrooks being in foul trouble because he was in foul trouble for the first half, and you were doing fine. You were good enough to at least have a chance through 35 minutes. And by the way, that's not just this game. You were good enough against Duke through like 30 minutes to have a chance. You were good enough against all of these teams. You're on a 7-game losing streak, and darn near all of them, you were good enough through 30 or 35 or 37 or 34 minutes to have a chance. So then when you crumble down the stretch, you can't point to, oh, well, this guy had a bad shooting day, or, oh, well, this guy got in foul trouble, because it's like, well, that was happening early as well, and you overcame it until the chips were down. I always hate the question when people are like, would you rather get blown out or lose on a buzzer beater? Because I'm like, you want to play well, so obviously the buzzer beater. But it is easier to explain when you get blown out. When you look at NC State's last 7 games, the 7-game losing streak, the longest losing streak under Kevin Keatts. 2 points to North Carolina, 3 points to Virginia Tech, 3 points to Cal, 6 points to SMU, 10 to Duke, but it was closer than that in the second half. 10 to Clemson, but it was closer than that in the second half. 12 to Cal, but it was closer than that in the second half. All of these games, you were there. And then down the stretch, in the clutch moments, it goes the other way. All right, so there's the problem, right? Try to be a solutions guy. Coaching comes into play. You just heard Kevin Keatts says it all falls on him. They were letting the opposing team get to the points of their game that the scouting report said you can't let them get to. That's bad, right? Part of it is simply the decision-making on the players. And it's frustrating because something happens like Dontrez Styles goes on a 2-game little scoring run and he's knocking down threes and it feels like, okay, now you have your offensive focal point. Against Cal, he goes 3 for 16. But it's Marcus Hill that's having a good day. Marcus Hill finishes as a 20-point scorer. And it didn't seem like they made the transition to, okay, you're having an off day, let's go over here, let you rock. It was still like Styles going, no, didn't you see the last 2 games? I'm allowed to go 3 for 16. Feeling the moment, feeling the flow of the game and adjusting, like just it's the basketball IQ thing. It's the understanding. I don't want to say understanding competition because obviously they're all great athletes, but just understanding what you need to do in the final moments to make the one more play to win the game. I like the energy from a player like Trey Parker off the bench. He's done a few good things over the last 3 games, and you just wish that kind of produced something. Those losses are tough, and now they're stacking up, and now you're going to start having questions, and the social dynamics of the locker room become much more complicated. And you have to stay on the West Coast and play Stanford.
It's got to be frustrating just on a game-to-game basis. Like, all right, well, what is my role going to be tonight?
What is my
Let
role?
alone a late-game situation, what's my role going to be today?
What's my role going to be? Well, there are certain players who obviously know their strengths, and you have to have some kind of consistency. But then there's also, if you don't have a player who is the level of creative scorer to just be like, hey, I'm going to score every game, then you do kind of have to find the hot hand. And that's tough, and you don't know, but also kind of exciting, right? that could be a strength. You never know. You never know what you're going to get. Defense, right? What was Cal's coach, Mark Madsen, by the way, the Mad Dog from the old Lakers teams? Is he sitting after the game going, "We didn't pay attention to the scouting report"? It's like, can we see your scouting report? We'd like to see what you think we do well often. What did you put down as like you need to stop for us? Because that could help us understand our team a little bit more. The crazy part is I'm only half joking on that.